Welcome back. This is episode number 368 of the Healthy Diabetic Podcast. I'm Coach Ken. Joining me as always, my good friend and partner in crime, Graham Hubbard. Graham and I are two type 1s who have over 50 years of lived experience with type 1 diabetes. We hope that we inspire you listening to these episodes. We hope to inspire you to think differently about how you are managing your diabetes. Before we get started, please remember that nothing that you hear in this podcast should be considered medical advice or otherwise. Please always consult your medical team before making any changes to your diabetes management. Graham, what's up, man? How you doing?
I can already jump right into it because I did this today and I thought about you.
Yeah.
How many more calories, how much more of an exercise are you getting when it's hot, when it's hotter? The hotter you're getting, the more you're sweating. So 40 minutes, what does 40 minutes and 50 degrees look like versus 40 minutes and 100 degrees look like?
So when you think of calorie burn, is calorie burn based off of you sweating or the intensity of that movement or exercise or whatever it is?
So it's like an engine. It's like an engine, like power is power.
Right. So there's a couple things that you have to think about. When you are sweating so much and it's so hot outside, there's a specific thing the body's trying to do. It's trying to cool itself down. That's why you sweat so much. Right. So as your body temperature goes up, you start sweating. It's not, I don't believe it's really 100% related to where your heart rate is. It's more related to the intensity in your body temperature. That's why you're sweating. And as your body temperature increases, you're sweating and it's trying to cool your body back down. So when we talk about calories, it has nothing to do with sweating. It has 100% to do with what the intensity is and what your heart rate is. Right. So the higher your heart rate, the more calories you're going to burn per minute. The lower your heart rate, the least amount of calories you're going to burn per minute. Now, that doesn't mean that you should always be doing high intensity exercise where your heart rate's high all the time to burn calories. Because the other component to this, when we talk about fitness, we talk about your overall health, the more cardio you do, which means you're doing lower heart rates, zone 1, zone 2, maybe the very low parts of your zone 3 if you've ever had your zones actually figured out, because there's 5 zones. So at that point where you're going from zone 2 or zone 1 into zone 2, whatever that number is, that's your aerobic capacity. That's where you're going to hypothetically burn the most fat. Most of the calories that you're burning are burning off fat stores, not carbohydrate stores. That's your aerobic capacity. That's important because as that aerobic capacity gets greater and you get more fit, that means your heart rate can decrease faster, which means you can maintain high intensity. You can maintain moderate intensity way longer. And then you have on the flip side, once you go from zone 3 to zone 4, not zone 5, zone 3 into zone 4, that's your anaerobic threshold. That's where from that anaerobic threshold and up, most of the calories and energy that you're burning off are going to be from carbohydrate stores, which is why a lot of times when you're doing high intensity exercise, your blood sugar plummets because it's burning off carbohydrate stores and sugar.
So let me go back really quickly just to the science, of the question. I agree. Okay. Just say a minute of run. Okay. Just a minute of run. We're talking about a minute of running. You are working harder when it's hotter, right? Your body is working harder to recover.
Your body's gonna work harder because your body temperature is increasing, not because the intensity, but because your body temperature is increasing.
But in turn, you are getting a better. You are getting a better. You are getting like a better exercise. Is it?
Your core temperature doesn't have anything to do with the exercise part.
Okay. You're right. Hold on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to follow my own brain. Okay, because you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Duh. So, as a whole, then your body is exerting more. Your body is working harder as a whole
Correct.
to bring
Yes.
you to your status quo, right? So I guess here's
For
here's
for
here's
the
a question I
exercise
have.
part,
Here's a question I
yeah.
have for you. Let me even go back to something really, really basic. Are you are you getting say you are mowing your lawn year round in Ohio, okay?
Yeah. Which we
So
don't.
but say you did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Versus somebody in a warmer climate where they are always just mowing their lawn, right? So something really, really, really basic like that. Like we're not exercise, we're not talking about like is are you is the person living in Florida versus Ohio like in better shape in the end because they're doing it in a does that you get what I'm saying,
Yeah, it
right?
makes total 100%, yes.
Okay. But
I would say
why?
no.
And my question is why? Like,
Okay. This is a really good question, right? It's a
okay,
really good question.
okay.
Here's why. Because we have to separate the intensity, the exercise piece from the core temperature sweating piece, right? Just because
Which is
you're
like a
out
mind
mowing the
fuck. That's a
lawn,
mind fuck, which
but so you have to also remember like sweating when you're exercises is also very beneficial.
uh,
You're flushing out stuff out of your system because you're sweating, right? You're intaking more
but
you
it's
have to
there to
take
cool you.
intake more
It's there
water.
to cool you.
What?
Isn't it the
Yeah, I mean
function?
that's part of like what sweating does. Like you're
Sure.
sweating because your body temperature increases. If you let's say you could mow the lawn when it's 30 degrees out and not snowing, right? But you're not
Okay.
going to be sweating very much.
Okay.
The intensity of that does this is basically the same. The difference is the temperature piece. Now we can also make the argument that the intensity of that task is going to be different from Florida versus Ohio because it is warmer. So you're just because your core temperature is increasing doesn't mean that it's not any harder to mow the lawn in Florida versus Ohio.
Okay.
It probably is harder because the core temperature increases and your heart rate will increase a little bit because of your core temperature increasing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's not like your heart rate is going to stay exactly the same in both situations. It's not. When it's hotter outside, your body has to work harder to to get through that task, right? Just like exercising at my gym because we don't have AC and the summertime is brutal. The humidity, the heat, we've got fans going on, we've got multiple garages, all kinds of we've got airflow coming into the facility, but it's all warm ass 90-degree air with a bunch of humidity. So it's hard, way harder than in the wintertime. But but I'm still sweating working out in the winter when we've got the heat on and all the doors are shut. But it is the intensity of what I'm doing is going to be harder because my core temperature increases. So I guess to answer your original question, is mowing the lawn in Florida where it's really hot, your core temperature is going to increase versus in like December, January versus if we had to mow our lawn in 30-degree weather, right? Like, is that going to be the same? It's probably going to be more challenging on the system, not the task, but the system in Florida versus Ohio. Yes.
Well, I'll throw another one in there. Have you ever played with altitude? You ever been like hiking or skiing or
Yeah.
and
That's a whole nother ball game. Yeah.
by the way, I'm looping diabetes into all of this by saying that I guess I think more or quote unquote worry more about it in mid July, the height of the summer, because I am constantly sweating. You're like almost always uncomfortable. You're almost like making that extra effort to do things just because it's just so it's a swamp and it's brutally hot. But I bring up things like altitude too because it's harder. It's just different. It's different on your body. You said it's completely. You said it's a whole nother. You
Yeah,
said it.
because you're adding another component to it, right? So not only do you have, especially in the heat, right? If you're hiking and you've got altitude in the heat, so one, your body's trying to deal with the temperature and the heat outside by trying to sweat as much as possible, try to cool down the system. as your core temperature increases. So that's one thing in the heat when you're hiking or going in altitude. The other thing, it's harder to breathe in the altitude, in that specific altitude, because your body's not used to working your lungs. Your body's not used to working that hard at the altitude it's currently always in. This is why a lot of athletes, they'll do altitude training to get ready for their sport. Has a higher altitude,
like a
right?
Denver.
To get his lungs and his body like ready for that,
Yeah.
right? So there's things like that that you can do. So to answer your question, like altitude is a big thing because it's adding one more component to the equation, which is the breathing component, which is your lungs having to work harder to get oxygen, and you know what I mean, on top of having to perform in whatever task that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Uh, what do you think is the most beneficial environment for a diabetic?
I don't
Do you
think
think
there
there's an
is
environment
any
like do you hold
beneficial.
on. But do you think like if it were up I would say if it were up to me, I'd much rather live somewhere warm where I could always be out moving and sweating and
Mhm.
I found the benefits of living in a place, like that's what people come to the sunshine for. That's what people go to the mountains for too. It's kind of the same. It probably would have been sunshine or mountains for me, but I did you don't think you think it's just
I know you hate this answer. It
I
depends
don't
on the
hate the answer.
person.
I just wondered like I want go ahead.
No, it does. It depends on the person, right?
Hmm.
I would love to live in Florida, but I tell you what, I don't wanna live in Florida in, May, June, July, August. Hell no, I don't
Yeah.
wanna live in Florida in May, June, July, August.
Yeah, but I don't
But
want to live
that's
in
also why a lot
Ohio.
of
I don't want to
people.
live in Ohio in the winter. It's the same.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's why people gravitate towards the southern states of the US during the winter, because it's still 70, 80 degrees
Hmm.
sometimes,
Hmm.
right? You can still have the lure of the summer
Warm.
months lure of the
Yeah.
summer months in the wintertime, right? There's so many people that are come to the gym. Like I train a guy who in the wintertime he goes to Florida. He has a house in Florida.
Hmm.
Like I train him virtually. So in the summertime when he's here, like he'll go and do the workouts at his gym at his house, his humongous house at home here in Ohio, and then he's got a gym
So
at a complex in Florida, right? So
yeah.
it's like he's constantly going back and forth, and we constantly have to like work through what does he have access to.
Yeah.
So it people do that all the time. So to answer your original question, is like what is the better altitude, temperature, whatever it is? I think it just depends on the person. Some
Hmm.
people really like the winter and like the cold, and they don't like the heat. Some people don't like the winter and they really like the heat, right? So it depends on the person.
I would argue. I don't make
Yeah.
arguments for the Midwest and Ohio. I would make an argument that the change of seasons is probably the healthiest thing for people because
Mhm.
I just think it's like it's nice to have something to look forward to in a way, but
Mhm.
I always ask myself this question. You talk about somebody having a place in Florida, and then like, is it brain first or is it body first? Because I think people have convinced
Mm.
themselves that it's for their mind, but I think it's your health. You are. I'm wondering if it's almost like a chicken or the egg. Like it's better knowing you're somewhere that you can do the exercise that's going to work for you. That's gonna the lifestyle that's going to work for you. Like my dad loved living in Ohio because he was a bicyclist, right? So like when it's nice out, you're out grinding. Like they're going out for bicyclists will go for 50-mile rides every night on the weekend.
Mhm.
Like if you know anything, Tour de France is on right now. It's badass. Like these dudes ride hella miles, and then it's good to like have the winter months where you're in the gym or you're like, you're doing spinning
Mhm.
classes or you're doing some yoga, like whatever, and like
Yeah. But also
and
if
then
you're a
like and then
cyclist,
hold on, and then you got friends like that live in the Alps or in Denver. You like take your bike out there, and that's like it's a lifestyle, it's a way of living, and I do get it, and I do respect that a lot. But to the point of your friend, I think I do wonder sometimes if I was like, let me just put myself somewhere where I can guarantee an exercise at all times. I mean, I did that in Ohio. I had a treadmill in my basement. I didn't like having a
well, you just
treadmill in my
adapt.
basement. Yeah.
Yeah, but you just adapt, right? That's what it is. It's all it is. It's just like diabetes, you gotta adapt,
Oof.
right? Of what you have in front of you. A lot of people, dude, I'd love to have a freaking house in Florida. I love that. But I can't afford to have my house here in Ohio and then have a house in Florida.
Yeah.
Just like you pick one or the other.
This is so random, but it's happening. What about all this smoke? Like, what would all that smoke do to somebody outside right now if you were in the
Well,
north?
it's
If
funny
you're
that
up
you
in the
bring this
north,
up.
the northeast, like what? Like, you know, I heard that the levels were so hazardous that they were canceling outdoor activities and telling people to stay inside, almost like lock your door, like lock your doors. What does that look like from a health perspective? Like, legitimately, like, does it really matter being outside for a day or two with bad air quality? Or
Well, well, it's funny that you bring this up because we canceled all of appointments at the gym today
really?
because it's so bad.
Yeah,
Yesterday, I can't remember the exact number that it was at. I think it was at, like, close to 150, 200
air
was
quality
the air
measure.
quality.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Today, I woke up today I woke up
It's like
and it was
500.
408.
Yeah, I heard this.
It
I
was
heard this.
408 here.
Uh,
It's like a haze. I don't have AC in my car, which is fine, whatever. So I'm driving on I just got back from playing basketball, and I'm driving to the facility I'm playing at, and, like, I'm just
really?
like, you could s I mean, that's an over exaggeration, but, yeah, I could smell the smoke. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty crazy right now here in Ohio, in Columbus. It's pretty
That's
insane.
so, wait. Did you play basketball inside?
No, we played outside. We wouldn't have played outside, or we played inside. Sorry, we played inside. We wouldn't have played
That's what I.
outside.
Okay. I was like, wait. You just said it backwards. Okay, so you did play inside, but
But
and
I'd say what's funny is like you walk inside, and then if you sit at one, because they have 2 courts, if you sit at one court and look down like the way to the other court, you could see like a haze. Like, so the smoke's getting inside the facility.
is that right?
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
what about, obviously you want to keep your, you would never jeopardize your body in a moment like that, but what is that? I mean, like,
I don't know the stats.
are
I
people
don't know
being
the
is
stats.
that overreactive to, like, why would you?
I think people. So here, but here's the thing that we have to recognize. According to what I've heard, this is just what
Mhm,
I've heard. I haven't read the stat. Anything over 150 in terms of air quality isn't good,
mhm,
right? So we're talking here in Columbus, we're at like 400. They're saying it's like smoking if you were outside all day, which most people are not going to be outside all day.
yeah,
If you were outside breathing in all the smoke and like breathing in the air right now in Columbus, Ohio, they're saying it's like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. That's what they're saying. Whether
I
that's
know,
true, I have no idea.
I'm
I have
laughing,
no idea if that's really true.
you know. So what about when you're at a campfire? Like, every time you're sitting around a campfire, like,
Exactly. Like, yeah, I don't know.
or
Like,
like,
I
what
don't know
about
the
people
answer
that
to
I
that.
know people that burn wood. I know
Yeah.
people that burn wood inside for 4 to 5 months. Like, am I missing something? Like, their house smells like campfire.
Dude,
Like,
we do the same thing. In the wintertime, I burn so much wood in our fireplace in our
yeah.
house.
Hmm.
And sometimes I have to stop because it's so smoky in the house. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know
I
the
don't
answer
know.
to that. It's an interesting question. It's a real interesting
I
question.
think it's like one of those
It's
things.
just
I was laughing today at the very first days of COVID. Like, almost when it was like cute, right? It was like everybody can, you know what I'm saying? It was like,
I
oh, like a
don't know
couple
what you're
days.
saying.
I mean, in the sense of like a couple days home while everybody relaxes, right? Like, it'll blow over, no
Oh
pun
yeah.
intended.
And then that lasted for 6,
Fine,
7, 8 months. Yeah.
obviously, in hindsight. But like, this is what I see that this was like, okay, it's like a fun, it's like a snow day, right? It was like that snow day feel like in the beginning. It's like, oh, things are closed, this and that. So I'm just laughing because it's wildfires up in Canada just blowing into your air. But we've this is crazy. I've smelled campfire for weeks now because we've had wildfires down in the Everglades, if you can believe it.
Oh
So
wow.
you asked me in the beginning, um, do we have this? But it was a week ago where I'm like, did we have like I thought, because we've had a fire in the neighborhood before at a house. I
Mhm.
was like, I need to go check the neighborhood because it's like that soot. It was like, that
Mhm.
like sooty smell. So
And
I don't
that's what
know.
it is right now in Columbus. Not like really bad, but you can definitely smell it.
Yeah,
And you
that's what
can
I'm saying.
definitely like
But it's just
see it
blowing
in the
through.
air.
Yeah. That's
You can definitely
crazy.
see it. Hopefully, it's not gonna last very long. Like, hopefully, it doesn't last very long, like it did in LA, where it lasted weeks and months. Like, hopefully, just the haze that's coming down from Canada. Let's just hope it doesn't last very
Yeah.
long, because I lost almost $200 today not going into the gym.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's how they're already reporting on because the World Cup game is in New Jersey on Sunday. So they were already
Mm,
this will come out after that, but
yeah,
yeah. Did
that's interesting.
you have diabetes camp next week?
Packing up right now, got everything I need. I got back from the pharmacy. They didn't have the test strips I needed, so I think I still have some Tech Contour Next test strips, because I'm almost out of the Hello Pip ones, but they've got test strips there, so I'm not really worried about it. I was just nervous that I wasn't having enough Dexcoms, but I have 2 left, and I just put one on, and it seems like it's working pretty well, so
You know, you're living your life right now. It's 2026. You got all these projects. You got your kids. You got this and that. I do want to tell you, like, from my perspective, from my experience, like, thank you from every little diabetic kid that you'll encounter. And, like,
mhm,
life speeds up a lot when we're in our 40s. And everybody knows this, you become an adult, but life is going by in a whole different way for every single one of those kids that's coming to diabetic uh, camp. And they have no idea how much money, like, they don't have a concept that you're like making money or you're taking time off from making money or you're taking time away from
yeah,
your family and blah, blah, all these things, right? They just know that you're there and present for them to make these little decisions every day. And you're there. You do it every single moment without doing it, saying like, you're not the only one. We're all here together. You don't have to feel alone. That was really, really cool for me, man. I did camp within, if I was diagnosed in February, I was doing camp by now. So, dude, I
mhm,
was in the heart of my honeymoon when I went to camp. So I
yeah,
never had a concept that I was, dude, and there's like hot, it's like hot girls and there's like, it's like funny guy, it's like, like, it sounds like materialistic. I mean, dude, I'm 8 or 9, relax. But it's like, it's like hot girls and cool guys. Like, that was the best and then you have, like, these,
yeah,
they
it's
had a
camp, man, it's
dance.
awesome.
They had a dance at the end every
Still
week, and
do it. They
it
still
was, like,
do
just
it.
a very, like, social, like, just fun. It's like, that matters so much to somebody's, to your everything, to your identity, to your happiness, to your soul, to what you end up doing in life, to how you approach everything. And, you give me a lot of, like, appreciation, but it could have been, I think about this, it could have been this moment that you're talking about right now. Like, that's it. All it took, all it took was just going to camp. And I never fell victim of, like,
Mm.
being yeah, I never fell victim of a disease. That's all it took, bro. Was just one fun social experience when I had a cool counselor, who's just human, who's real. That's it, dude. That's it, bro. So,
Yeah, I've got a lot of emotions about this camp, because every single year that I'm there, like, I see things that just
yeah, the reality
they
of
get to
things.
me.
You
The
mean?
reality of how these kids are forced to live with this condition,
Hmm.
how the emotional side shows up. I'm very astute. I'm very intentionally asking questions to some of these kids, especially the young men that I'm with as a counselor, which I'm not a counselor this year, but just the young men that I'm interacting with especially. And I really hope that I can be like someone that these kids look up to. I think the really interesting piece to that is seeing how these kids deal with their diabetes from the conversations that they're having with these other people that they're meeting, creating relationships, building relationships with campers, with other campers, with counselors, with
Yeah.
staff. It's just a really cool thing, and I grew up going to camp, not diabetes camp, but just camps,
Hmm.
and it brings me back to the fun that I had, the relationships and friendships that I built over those probably 10 years that I went to camp when I was a
Yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
and it's super, super cool.
You
Yeah.
could you could almost say you want to touch young kids and adults.
Yeah, I wanna touch all type 1s. I as soon as I said it, I'm like, "You
Did you
son
not?
of a biscuit, man." As soon as I said it, I was like,
Dude,
"You
I
son of a
always need
biscuit."
to tell you this. Back in the day in my basement, oh, you would record, you would always say I was touched. And you never do it anymore. And I always would
I
end
was
laughing.
touched?
You would
Yeah, yeah,
say like
yeah.
you'd be
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
a
yeah.
thought and you would always say like, and you said here right while you were talking, like I just, young man, I'm like, please say I want to touch, like I want to touch young men, like I want to
You're a
touch
jerk.
the lives of young men. No,
Uh,
dude, I don't have words for what you just said. Like I said, that's you took my thank you and hyper. If none of that happened, just the fact that you're thinking it is like I said, it's help. It does.
yeah, 'cause I mean, even this year, like, usually they have 3 weeks. Well, really yeah, they've got a day camp, and then they've got 2 senior weeks
Yeah.
with the teenagers, and then they've got a junior week with 12 and under. Now this year, they had a day camp, but then there's only 1 senior week and 1 junior week.
I don't know. I have a couple volunteer positions that are obviously, and they're not just important to me. It's like they're important to everybody else, but nobody's willing to just do it. Where
Yeah.
I guess that makes me a little bit sad
Volunteer
for our
positions are
society,
hard.
where it's like, you know, it's like the janitor at the end of the day. It's like you do realize that somebody comes in every single day and cleans this up and mops and has to like, things just don't happen, right? And like I said, I was asked to do a position. I'll be honest, I don't want to. It's PTO. Like I was asked to do PTO, and my daughter's in third grade, and I'll end up doing it the whole time that she's in elementary school. But it's like a very small amount of people that just got the message. Like if we don't do it, nobody else, literally nobody else will. Like the majority of
Yeah.
people are going to take, and I hate to admit it, but like people are going to take what's being offered versus, and I hope,
But I think it's
I don't
hard,
know.
though.
It is.
I
I
think it's
know.
really hard. Volunteer positions are hard, which is why I think our Breakthrough T1D chapter here in Columbus is having so many challenges because they don't have a lot of funding either because 'cause they're not one of the huge, markets for bringing in money every year.
Mhm.
So, the Breakthrough T1D headquarters or whatever doesn't they don't have a huge budget. So they're relying on tons and tons of volunteers. And I see it every team, I was seeing because I don't go to the meetings anymore, but I was seeing it every single time I went to the advocacy meetings. They're just asking for all of this help. And it's just like, okay, but we all got our own jobs. We all have this, we all have
Yeah,
that.
I
And then
know.
you guys don't have enough support to make things happen. And like, so it's a hard piece to swallow when you look at having to have all these volunteers. But
Mhm.
it's like, can you have the volunteers and make it happen? That's the thing. Like you gotta make it you get all these volunteers, you gotta make it happen, which Breakthrough T1D does with their 3 main events, the walk, the summit, and the gala. They do a great job with those 3 events, but they don't do a great job, my personal opinion, of with all the other things that they could be doing outside those 3 events,
Mhm.
which they don't have time. They don't have the resources to do tons of stuff, so I
It's
get it.
it's the
Totally get it.
you can look back at 50 years ago. It has to start locally, and like that's will always be the thing with like back in the day. It was like in the 60s was like save the planet. Like you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything globally until you do something locally, right? Like you have to make you got to. It's not just making the small changes at home. It's like you have to have something affect you personally where you're willing to get involved, or you're willing to look at it in a way where it's like, oh, if I'm gonna bitch about this, either take action or right, like
Yeah. Yeah.
suck a thumb, and
Suck a thumb, man.
if that you know what I'm saying, like that makes
I totally
so
understand what you're saying.
it's hard.
It is hard, man. It's
It's
hard to get something
I'll go back
going
to something
when
I
you don't
said
have funds behind it.
I'll just go back to something I said a very very long time ago. It's very almost fun to protect that innocence with a child, where like they shouldn't have to know that funding ran out and they can't go to summer camp. Like they should just, like have them an
Yeah.
opportunity to come to a summer camp. And, I don't know. It's easier said than done, but if everybody was inspired by like, again, like, you know, that is not only the beauty of youth, but dude, we know this as fathers. Give them what they need right now because this matters. All like the I love yous and the hugs and you're good. You're doing a great job means so much right now. It means so much right now. So when you get, side blasted with type 1 diabetes and your life turns upside down, hearing Ken's
Yeah.
perspective
It
over a
it
campfire
matters,
matters.
but it matters because if you don't have that, like me, I didn't have that when I first started.
Yeah.
If
But
you
you were
don't
older. You were
have
older too. So
it, but that doesn't matter, right? That really doesn't matter. It really doesn't
you're
matter
right. Because
of when
adult
you were
adult summer camp
diagnosed,
would be amazing if adults committed to it.
right? Like
Yeah.
think about I think about that for a second. If there was 2 weeks out of the year, 2 weekends out of the year that you could potentially go and meet other diabetics, have fun, be a camper, like what would be the value of that to you? To me, that when I first started, that would have been huge.
Uh-huh.
Would have been huge. Like, oh, I can go and learn from all these other doctors, and my doctors that I have right now, I don't get to see them enough to get actual information. They've got doctors, they've got all kinds of people, they've got like I can hear all these other speakers talk about like the technology, how to deal with stuff. I can go listen to this psychologist or this person that knows a lot about mental health. Like that stuff is so valuable, and the information is put out differently than it is for a young person. A young person, let's just go have fun. And we're just gonna try to teach and give you these nuggets every day that you can take with you. And then the next year, you're gonna give you a little bit more nuggets. And then the next year, we're gonna give you a little bit more nuggets. So by the time you're a teenager, depending on when you were diagnosed, 4, 5, 6 years later, you have been in front of so many amazing individuals that live with this, that have inspired you and have inspired you to learn about how to manage it, and like that's what I think is the most important thing.
Mhm.
And I think the really cool thing that I wish I could do right now, but I can't, is bring in real education to that process from this podcast, from all of Simplifying Life with Diabetes educational like materials and how I think, like all of that information could be brought into that ecosystem for free. Like it's so valuable to me. So valuable.
I do wonder if type 1 diabetes moves farther and farther away from being a juvenile from being a
Well, it has.
juvenile.
It already has.
Yeah. But not but
It
to
already
the
has.
point where it's like negatively affecting it, like this would be surprising to me. Like I wouldn't have seen this coming,
What?
like uh like youth camps being affected by, like
No, youth camps won't be affected because it's not just about the camp. Like I literally talked to another person that just started a diabetes camp like 2, 3 years ago. So it's brand spanking new in Chicago. And I emailed her to ask her, just get some thoughts. Like, hey, can I get on a call with you? I'm getting ready to go to my diabetes camp. Can I get on a call with you in August and just pick your brain about some things? And she said something to me. Camps in general, youth camps in general are on the rise. I'm like, really? And she's like, yes, they're on the rise right now all over the country because more and more people understand the need for this for young people, which I was like, man, that's freaking awesome. And it inspired me to like, okay, I'm getting ready to go to my diabetes camp. Now I'm going to go with a little bit more information. I'm going to go into this with like, more research basis, intuition, and just kind of continue to watch what's going on.
I would almost wonder. I'm happy to hear what you just said. I'd want to look that up on my own and read about that. Though
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't.
that's what
Hold
she
on,
said.
hold
I
on.
don't know.
I don't remember my friends going like to summer camp. I was going to youth and summer camps. Like I used to go to My sister and I used to go to YMCA camps long before I was even diabetic or Camp Hamley or anything
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too.
Like
Me
I
too.
don't really remember people going to summer camp, so my perspective is I have truly no idea. I do
There's kids.
wonder. I
We
think
have kids.
privacy is different though. Hold on. I just think like people's the way the way I'll never forget training for Ken will tell you this, like if a camper needs to go do something in private, like you should always bring another adult with you. Like
Mhm.
you can
Yeah.
never be like alone with the kid. There's like I just feel
Correct.
like it's like a loss, or not just even a lawsuit waiting to happen. It's just bodies and body positivity and all this like the
Mhm.
sexual, almost we're in like a sexual generation. Like I feel like that would be a very difficult thing. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to
It's
read
not,
about that,
though.
but I hope that is true.
Yeah, but that stuff is not that's no different than it was when I was going to camp. When I was
Okay.
going to camp, you didn't go to the bathroom by yourself, you had to take 2 buddies. Like, and that's the way same thing it is now.
Yeah, but we didn't have like
I think there
we didn't have like a problem with like child predators when I was in camp, like when I was in camp
we
like
did when I was in camp. They
30
still
years
looked
ago.
at it. They still talked about it 30 years ago. It's not as prevalent now because we have social media and we see it
That's
more,
probably Yeah, that's probably true.
you
You
know?
you just hear about it
It's
more.
you just hear about it more with social media and the internet, like, you just hear about it more, right? So
Yeah.
it's still a thing. You still have to protect yourself as the staff member, as the child, as the parent, as the
Yeah.
organization. And there's more laws now, there's more, like, things that you have to think about, like, 100%.
But from a consumer standpoint, where does the where does the where does the structure, where does the skeleton of a nonprofit diabetes camp come from? Like, where did when I was a kid 30 years ago, where was that? What was the skeleton, as in like, why are they using these medical orders and why are they counting cards? Like, why are they counting things these way? Like, is that my,
It's because that's what the
it,
medical system does. It's not a I mean, it might be a law, but I
but it
don't
was
think
still
it is. I think it's
particular.
just
They were doing
yeah,
things
but
there that I
it's
wouldn't have done.
particular because that's how the medical system and the medical staff is doing it, right? The medical staff, even right now, that's at the diabetes camp, are doing things in a way that they do it in the actual
Hospital.
real endocrinology realm, right?
Okay.
How they how they teach us how to treat a low, how they
Okay.
teach us how to treat a high,
Okay.
how they teach us and what the protocol is when someone has ketones. Like all that stuff is already like it's because the medical staff that is present has created those protocols based off of what their education is and what the actual protocols are in the hospitals. Right?
So
So
do you think
again, it's like we're not trying to invent the wheel. We're just trying to make things work maybe more organizationally and flow better, or maybe we have the power to change protocols. I don't know. I have no idea.
I
But
guess
it's the process of it. The interesting piece about all of it is like you have the protocols that are already set. Just like I think some of the protocols that we have at diagnosis need to be changed. Some of the protocols and how we even meet with our endocrinologists and our doctors and our providers need to change. But we also have to do our part, right? So it's a whole collaborative thing, and that's how we make real change and creating new protocols and creating new foundational things of education for type 1 diabetes. It's a collaborative approach. It's not just like Ken thinks that it should be this, so that's what it should be. No, like I have a very specific idea in mind of why I think something should be the way it is, but also I'm not a doctor. I need to collaborate with the medical people. I need to collaborate with the nutritionists. I need to collaborate with the foundation of diabetes camp, like or the foundation of camps. Like, what is the protocols? What is the laws? What all that stuff has to be worked together to build like a really good like camp. And
uh
the great thing is like I don't have to go and reinvent the wheel and learn all this stuff because we already have a camp that is running by itself,
well,
or
that's
we
and
already have a
that's
camp that's running.
so that's my question exactly. Like, if I went to a diabetes camp in Illinois versus Ohio, are there state laws that nonprofits running a medical need to be following that's going to vary? You're saying that there aren't flow downs, like they're not, there's not a manual that's being flown down of how to run a camp. So everything is just, they just make it up as
But
they
there is
go.
but no, there is a manual.
Are there
That's
state
why
laws? Are there state laws
yeah, there's
that would
state
be,
laws on
that would
how to
be,
do things.
but that, are there state laws on a situation like this, running nonprofit with having like a liability. You have a massive liability when on your
Mhm.
property there's 300 kids with type 1 diabetes, right?
Yeah, that's why you're approaching that liability with medical staff, with nutritionists, with certified people, with people that know what they're talking about, with people on staff that live with diabetes, like, and have been educated by the medical staff on how to deal with things and how to deal with situations, and
So that's
yeah, that's
probably
what
why
you have all that stuff in place.
they do have like a head doctor where if a decision came down, then
Yeah,
somebody would
there's a
have to
doc
make a
on call.
decision.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a doc on call all week.
that makes sense. That seems just so. It's like a scare. It's like a pretty scary undertaking.
It is a very scary undertaking. There is an opportunity,
I'm laughing
but
because so
just an idea.
this goes now back 8. This goes back at least 8 years. So like about 8 years ago, I was living in Ohio, and a common friend of ours, reached out to me in Columbus because either like something was happening with his insulin or his something and was off, and he and I reconnected. And at the same time, I was meeting you, and then Tom says, "Hey, come and have dinner with all of us. A bunch of diabetics going to get together, and we're going to have dinner." And that is the story of in the parking lot after that dinner. I said to Ken, like, "You're going to talk to Ohio State. Let me come because I'm going to." And then that was like the
Yeah,
origins of the show. But now you're saying
yeah.
8 years ago, you were introduced to the camp, and you were introduced to maybe something you were completely unaware about through our connection, and like a
Because
lot.
I didn't know it even existed.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I go back to what I'm saying is like my original. No matter what happens, it takes one person to think differently and think outside the box, and like
Yeah.
be
That's what I'm
willing to
trying to
be,
do.
be willing to put that weight on their shoulders to know that it's going to impact people. And
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
there's no
The
glory,
impact,
and
we need to have
this,
impact.
but you also know this too already. In life and business, there isn't like some end of the road where there's glory and it's going to be pretty and it's glitz and glam. Like it's going to be,
Yeah,
it's not what it's necessarily. That's not maybe the idea. There are bigger things working. Bigger things. There are things that are bigger than you and I if we keep looking at it right, in my opinion. So enjoy yourself.
100%.
You think hopefully you'll learn something.
Oh, yeah, I learn something every single year. I learn stuff every single year,
It's so fun,
which
bro.
is just fun, man. It's fun.
It is like think about
It's
that.
fun. Like, yeah, I learn something every single year, and a lot of times I'm learning things in a positive way where I'm just like I'm shocked sometimes at, like, things that happen. I'm just shocked at the bubble that I live in. We'll
Mhm.
say that. I'm shocked at the bubble that I live in, the way I think that the world is, and you see a different part of the world by some of these kids that come, and these amazing individuals that come, and you see their life, and you hear about their life. And you're like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Uh, I say it
It's
all the
cool.
time. I say it all the time to you. The hardest part of that diabetes is that you're living your life and the diabetes. It's all, and it's if they're happening. I always make the joke. Life goes on, and then you have, and then you, and then you have diabetes. Like we are doing. I think every type 1 is doing God's work. I really do, bro. I talk a big game, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like I said, I think your brain in life is always going. You're gonna keep going for something and you're gonna achieve it one day. And you're gonna hold your head like, no, no, you're gonna keep going. That's the only choice to keep on going, keep pushing, keep going. And there's not gonna be any glory in it. It's what we always say.
Yeah.
Look yourself in the mirror and love yourself, and you're doing what's expected of you.
Yeah. I think
Well,
about,
as long as you're
there
doing
was
it. Go ahead.
yeah, there was a what, I think 2 episodes ago, you made a really powerful statement, and I didn't realize how powerful it was until I started posting about it. And there's a clip on on my Instagram and all my socials of you saying one specific thing and giving your perspective on it, and it's blowing up right now. And the thing that you said was the worst thing about living with diabetes, and then you gave your perspective on that. And I didn't realize how powerful that statement was that you said, until I started posting about it. And and I think that one of the things that keeps coming up for me over the last week after watching people's comments on that, watching, all of the views that it's been getting, I think for me, one of the worst things about living with diabetes is the fact that you can't turn it off. That you simply just can't turn it off. Not that you can't take a break, because you can. You can take a break if you want, but still keeping all of the things in place, still pre-bolusing, still taking enough insulin. But you can take a pump break, you can take a CGM break. I mean, Graham, you're taking a CGM break right now, right? You can still take breaks, but not putting your life at risk. And I think that it's been a really interesting emotional thing that I've thought about, because it really is true that for me, the worst thing is that you just can't turn it off. You could 100% deal with it every day and be okay and be good and have great stability, but yeah, you can't turn it off. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that piece up because I thought
Was
that
there something
was
listen, I guess I'm still like waiting, like you're gonna say that I said something, or it's just the fact that I said there's something bad
it's just
about
the
that.
fact of what it no, it's just the fact of what you said, the phrase of what you said, the worst thing about living with diabetes. And everyone can put in their own
Oh,
X to
okay. I
that.
see what you mean. I see what you mean. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just like I think the tagline that I used was the worst thing about living with diabetes, and I
Yeah.
think everyone's catching on to that tagline, which is great. It's a great hook. But then I started thinking about it more because I saw how impactful that post was to people. Then I was, like, thinking about, well, what is the worst thing that you think about diabetes? Because you know me, like, I don't think diabetes is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm not in that space. Now diabetes lives with me in my life. I don't live with diabetes. Diabetes lives with me in my life. And I've told this story to you before about, like, when I die, I'm gonna turn and high five diabetes and say, like, "Hey, thanks for getting me through life. Like, thank we
Yeah.
made it. We did it. We did it." And that's how I think about diabetes. That's the relationship I have with diabetes. It's not a negative relationship. But also, there's times when I think about, man, it'd be really cool to turn a switch and just be able to live without having to deal with everything every single day, without
Yeah.
having to think about blood sugar, without having to look at your phone, without having to, did you take enough insulin? Did you carb count? Did you pre-bolus? Like, are you going low? Shoot, I gotta deal with these low symptoms right now. Damn, I gotta deal with this high. Like, it'd be really cool to turn that shit off, but you can't. And I think for me, that's the worst thing about diabetes.
So the worst thing about diabetes is everything.
No, it's
Which
not
is,
everything. It's just the
hey,
fact that you can't turn it off.
you know what though? And I'll make that I recognized that a long time ago, that the ultimate mind fuck is to take the worst thing about yourself and make it your greatest power.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like that's it, that's it. I wear it as a badge of confidence. And I learned this too. And a psychologist could tell you this too. Anybody that studies the brain, you're not self-loathing. You're not, oh, woe is me by saying this fucking sucks. Because there are really aren't meant. I've yet to come into contact with anything that's really like type 1 diabetes especially after decades. Like, you're not just because you're 5 or 4 or new into it, but like, especially after decades, like I haven't found anything that's comparable to type 1 diabetes. Dude. Like, decades.
What do
Think
you
about
mean
that.
comparable?
Like, in the terms of
Like challenging
there
or
is no, thank you for your question. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. This is like super easy. Like, it's generally a pretty run of the mill thing, but you have to just do it every fucking day and every fucking hour. And that is not in line with the human psyche. Like, you normally do something with an end goal in sight. There is no end goal. You are working hard, hard, hard by thinking, by acting, by all these things we are doing, and it is only making us more unhealthy, actually. It's
but
only
I
what they say by
yeah,
science.
yeah.
It's technically only taking time off of our lives, but does any of that really matter if in the moment you're, like I said, there's a greater power working to keep me. going. And it's like I said, taking the worst thing about me and making it into a superpower. So
Yeah, man, I don't know
that makes
because
sense. We're talking
it
like
makes
really
total
deep. We're
sense.
taking really, this is like really deep,
Yeah,
like diabetes talk.
yeah, it is deep, and I think for me, man, like, I think because you made the statement is like, "There's nothing else," you know, that there's nothing else like diabetes, and you're right, but also I would make the argument that diabetes is really hard, but so is having cancer. So is having another autoimmune condition. It just so happens that there's more involved with type 1 diabetes because there's more decisions. There's more things that you have to think about with type 1 diabetes. But having freaking stage 4 brain cancer isn't any better,
Well, that's what I
right?
separate. That's what I
So
separated. Like, this is
yeah,
not hard. When I
I
said,
know.
bro, this is
I'm
not
just
hard.
saying,
This is not hard.
but it is hard. But it is hard, dude. It's not hard for you
Yeah.
because you figured it out. Like
No, 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 no.
you
But that's
have
not
to
fair to
always
say.
take
That's not
yourself
what
out
I'm
of that.
saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Like,
What are you saying
if
then?
all we're doing is what everybody else should be doing,
But that's not all we're doing.
if we simplify though, let's simplify. Our
Okay.
day every day has nothing in comparison with stage 4 cancer. But at the end of the day, stage 4 cancer is going to kill you. Alzheimer's
Not
is going.
necessarily.
Okay, if maybe like I said, it's like we're just talking about
Yes,
like
I get. All
like
right,
a
cool. I'm gonna stop interrupting you. Go,
like
go.
yeah, yeah. Nobody, I don't know how to compare it. How do you, it's like such a mind fuck to say
You
this. It's
can't
like
compare it. That's
it's
what I'm
obviously I
saying. You
don't
can't
want death.
compare it.
Death is the worst, but prolonging it with like you said, all these decisions and all these scripts and all these medications and all this that needs to go right all the time. It's just not easy, man. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but neither is having a chronic condition. Neither is having cancer. Neither is having an autoimmune condition. I'm literally watching it with a friend of mine. Like, he's got brain cancer. He
Yeah.
beat it and it's back. He's had multiple strokes because of it. He's on a gazillion medications, more than any of us are. He's having to basically he's been on the podcast before. He's been on this podcast before.
Yeah.
Diabetes is not harder than that. Diabetes is not more challenging than that. It's just different.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say that diabetes is easy or even that diabetes is harder than some other condition like cancer or anything else that we've mentioned or anything else that's out there. All of the conditions, all the chronic conditions that we all deal with as human beings, diabetes is not better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we can make the argument that there's not really any other conditions out there that at least I have seen that requires so much day-to-day attention,
Yeah.
day-to-day thought process. Every other condition that is out there has its own challenges, and we can't say that it's better or worse. But so I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. I'm just trying to make the statement that diabetes is really hard, but so is other things that are out there
I would
that people are
say,
dealing with.
I've always wanted to answer this question, and I appreciate you talking to me about it and saying what you said, like the whole cancer, because I've had friends with cancer too, and I even sent a cancer friend like a text one time about like keeping your shit together, and they were almost like, "Bro, I got cancer. You got type 1 diabetes." Like, and I think it is obviously this is the best way I can simplify it. In his situation, like he is aware he's going to. Let's say he's aware he's going to die. We are not being told we're going to die, but we are being told if you don't follow these parameters, then we're going to introduce you to the question of you might die. Does that make sense? And then
100%.
like in my case, you get older and you go through puberty and you're 8 and then you're 18 and then you're 28 and then like all these phases of life go by and by and by and by and by and it's still that same like luckily for you you're not going to die but you are much closer to doing that if you allow things to slip.
Correct. Just
And
like
that's where I
anything.
said, like, and that's where I said, like, it's different. I haven't, where I said in the beginning, I haven't found anything that's like diabetes in that sense, where it's like, you know, it's hard to describe. It's just hard to describe. Everybody knows if you go out there, drive your car fast, you could get into an accident. That's like,
100%.
but the vast majority of people have never been in an accident, so you'll keep driving fast, right? Versus
Yeah.
somebody like, and like, I don't have the other side of that example, but that maybe makes more sense where it's not just an, like, for most people, it's an empty threat. 90% of people, like, it's just a threat. Like, oh, it'll happen. You better
Yeah.
watch it. I guess
Yeah.
for us, it's just we have a closer relationship with the idea of maybe that could happen. But the difference between us and everybody else is it's once you have that ticket punched, it's never end. Right now, it's never ending.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard piece to swallow because you do have to be aware, at least, and understand what the complications are with diabetes, regardless if it's type 1 or type 2,
Hmm.
right? You have to understand what the complications are. And I can hear it when I talk to these doctors of these people that haven't figured this out. And maybe their blood sugars aren't in the space that their doctors would want or even they would want. And because I hear it from these doctors, like, oh, this person's they're not doing X, Y, and Z, or they can't figure this out, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, but are they getting the support that they actually need? And a lot of doctors will probably say, no, because I only get to spend 15, 20 minutes with them every 3 or 4 months. So are they allowed this is where I think the gap is, and it irritates me. I have literally talked to my doctor about this because 'cause I've asked him. He's not allowed, even though he knows that I personally, as a coach, can help and another fellow diabetic, can help so many of his type 1 diabetic patients. But he can't refer those people to me because I'm not in network, because I'm not a doctor, because I'm not a medical practitioner. What he can do is he can tell people about a free resource of the podcast, which he does sometimes. I believe he does. But then you talk to other people, it's like, yeah, I can't even talk about that because if you say something that isn't really accurate, or you say something that is your opinion, but it goes against what we teach, like that's a bad thing. Right. So there's all of these like fine lines as human beings that we have to walk when we're talking about something that could potentially injure someone, which is why we give a disclaimer at the beginning of every single episode. We're not medical professionals. Anything that you hear us say, go talk to your doctor about it because we're not medical professionals. But in coaching, we don't talk about medicine. We talk about the principles of living with the condition and what you're allowed to do and then what you should ask your doctor about. That's what coaching is all about. It's about being a guide to help someone navigate what a doctor doesn't have the time, capacity, or energy to do. And it's the same thing with the podcast. It's the same thing with talking to an individual about cancer. It's the same thing about talking and being a friendly ear or friendly voice to someone that you're friends with, like I am to Graham, and Graham is to me, and I am to other people, and other people are to me. Like that's what this is all about. I feel like that went off in a tangent, but
No, I do. Obviously, this is. I think anybody would agree with me, but I've never tried to compare. I've never tried to compare something like cancer to diabetes. I could have cancer 100 times, and I would say 100 times I'd rather have diabetes over, And
of
I have a
course.
friend. I had a friend that she had breast cancer at 20, and she's now young 30s and has double mastectomy and a hysterectomy. Like, she
Mm,
got her kids out of the way, got everything out of the way, because now she has to live with the thought of, now does this come back? Does this? I'm in remission, but like that,
yeah.
and this is being blunt, but she now doesn't have to do anything. But the worry, that thought, to me would kill me. It'd fucking kill me. And at least
Hold on, so but she still has to do something because she has to still live a healthy lifestyle.
that. Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay, duh, of course, of course. My
Yeah, yeah,
point
yeah, yeah.
being, at least I get to take action every day towards making decisions that are going to make me healthier and like keep me away from the imminent. my imminent doom, like, whatever's going to happen. But I'm just obviously Ken, yes. My point being, I would never want to have something and then have to worry about it coming back either,
Yeah.
and so, but I look at Alzheimer's, like the other one right now is I brought it up as like Alzheimer's. Like I hope like people are really just pouring so much money into research into like I see these purple walks all the time, ALS and these walks. Like, man, that shit matters, dude. Like that's the other thing, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but I also don't mind putting myself down the ladder versus other like
Yeah.
attack cancer and Alzheimer's before anything, 100%. Like, I get it. I get it. I'm with the, like,
Well,
no,
no, but it's
so
not about tacking one thing over another. All of them are important. Every condition that we
yeah,
deal
but
with
those two
that
specifically
affects our
are
mental health.
but that's my point though. You just hit the nail on the head. The fear and the thought of those two specifically is like the worst. That's why it's literally called a cancer. Like
Yeah.
it's the definition of a cancer. Like it
So
is it
he
I'm devastated. I lost my dad to cancer. Like everybody I feel like has like it's
but the problem is, Graham, here's the problem. This is my own personal view. This is not a medical thought process. This is not medical advice. This is not we'll just say that. Okay? I'm not a doctor. Here's my perspective on this. Regardless if we're talking about type 1 diabetes, we're talking about cancer, we're talking about Alzheimer's, we're talking about any chronic condition that's out there that someone might be having challenges or struggling with. The problem is there's not enough research on how to deal with it, and there's not enough research or there's not enough communication and education on how to deal with it. And there's not enough communication and education on how to prevent some of them, because some of them you can do things to 100% lower your risk of having them. And I believe that even for type 1 diabetes.
but that's all new
There are
information.
things
You have to admit this is all new information.
What's all new
Like
information?
the like
It's not new information.
10 years, everything's changed in diabetes.
Well, everything's changed in diabetes on how to live with it.
And for people to experience what you're saying, like you can't know
100%,
something is
but the
unhealthy
problem is
without finding out it's
but we know that smoking is unhealthy and people still smoke because they're getting
well.
flooded with ads. They're getting flooded with all of these things.
So
People
we like
know that
cancel those people
drinking
out. We are like canceling
excessively.
because that's
No, we're
silly.
not canceling it, but
Those
that
people have
doesn't
been
but
warned
no, it
for
doesn't.
those people have been warned for 50 years now, bro.
But we've been warned for 50 some years about sugar, but sugar's not the
Yeah,
problem. We've been
yeah,
warned for 50 years about fat. Fat's
yeah.
not the problem. We've been warned for 50 years of carbohydrates and the danger of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates aren't the problem. We've been warned for 50 years, hundreds of years to get exercise, but exercise is not the one problem. We've been warned about toxins and all these things in our environment, but there's still policies and stuff that allow that shit to happen. So this shit is nothing new, Graham. It's how are you finding the information? How are you internalizing the information? And what choices are you making to live your life? There's research out there that you shouldn't go to McDonald's, that you shouldn't go to Starbucks and get a mocha choco, whatever the heck it is, with
Okay.
300 grams of sugar in it.
Yeah,
There's people that know that you shouldn't do that, and there's people that know that you shouldn't do that still do it.
yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
this is the problem,
You made me put
and
my foot
people
in my
don't take
mouth. Yeah,
action. So people don't take action. I've seen
yeah.
this in the fitness industry and the health and wellness space for 18 plus years. I've been in this industry for almost 18, 19 years. Okay? People don't take action on their health until a catastrophic thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't.
Yeah.
Just like the thought process of people are getting lung transplants because they've been a chronic smoker since they were a kid, 18 years old, whatever age it is when they started, and they're back outside after their lung transplant, smoking cigarettes outside. But we let that shit happen
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have the self-awareness to understand, like, maybe you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
But then there's people that get lung transplants because of some choices that they've made in their life, and then they completely change their life, or a heart transplant, or a pancreatic transplant or a kidney transplant, whatever it might be. But a lot of people don't take action on their health until something happens.
Mhm.
That's just
I
that's just what it is.
that's such a
I didn't take action on my type 1 diabetes until very specific things happened. I came out of depression. I came out of denial. I met my wife. She was a nurse. She was telling me stories of type 2 diabetics having really hard times. I decided that I wanted to live a better life. That was compounding things happened in my life to make me take action on
yeah.
to start learning how to manage and live with this condition.
Yeah.
And it's taken 10, 12 years, 13, maybe even 14 years to get to where I am now
Well, you just
because
said
I
in
decided to take action.
you literally just said in 2 minutes the key to life. Take care of your wellness or you'll take care of your illness. That's so true. Again, I'll say it again. Take care of your wellness or you will eventually take care of your illness. And you said the most important word, decision. I decided. That's it.
Yeah, you
We
gotta
and we
decide.
and we all waste so much time and people look for all this help and all these that's it right there.
Mm,
It's
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not it's not if, it's when. It's that's just plain and simple. And you know, we don't agree on a lot of things like medically and like the
Mhm. Yeah,
foundation of
yeah.
things, but one thing we definitely see 100% eye to eye on is no matter no matter how bad things get, no matter how amazing medical no matter how amazing a medical innovation might be or the next technological innovation for health,
Yeah,
we are all playing a very negative part in our own humanity. It's a like what you're saying is essentially like it's a civil issue. It's an issue with humanity. Like it's what you just said. You know, I was making the joke about cancer, like, well, if you don't know to smoke, you don't know to smoke. Well, then you're like, well, what about people going to McDonald's? What about people not going to the gym? What about people that I always go up to the soda machines, you know, and I can only drink diet my whole life. And I'm like, okay, there are like 10 other choices. Only one of them is diet. Only one of them is water. I was like, people don't drink this shit. People do. People do drink that shit. Like that is what people drink. They drink sugary, you know, and
sugary drinks,
my point being,
the dopamine hit.
we are doing ourselves a disservice as a human, you know, as a whole.
Yeah,
And it sucks to see it, but
100%.
it sucks to see it, but
Yeah,
you know,
man. It sucks, but it is what it is, and you're not going to change everyone's mind. Just like I'm not gonna change your mind on some things that I think that you need to change your
yeah.
opinion about. But here's the great thing about that. It's your opinion. It's your decision. It's your choice.
Hmm.
Who am I to say that what you believe in is 100% wrong just because
Yeah.
I don't believe it?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the same thing with everything. It's the same
Oh,
thing with
yeah.
politics. It's the same thing with what you believe with medical. It's the same thing with you believe with your own health. It's the same thing. You want to drink soda and you don't think it's bad, then who am I to argue with you? I'm just telling you that it is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that it is. And it's affecting your health. It's affecting your blood sugar. Like I'm just telling you it is. It is. But it's up to you to believe that. And it's okay if you don't. One of my really good diabetes friends thinks that drinking soda is okay, and nothing that I've ever said is going to dissuade him. Okay, cool. I can't do nothing about it. And I'm gonna keep supporting him in his diabetes. I'm gonna keep supporting him in his thoughts and his beliefs and his opinions.
Do you think people have
What do you want me to do?
do you think people have convinced themselves that they're just making like, oh, it's just like a little bit of pop here, and then I don't, just I don't really work out a lot, but I will, and then I drink, but I don't drink. Yeah, I won't drink a lot. Like, is it a compounding factor of those little things that's catching up to people? And like,
It's a false reality. It's a false story and a false reality that this person lives in. That this person has told themselves, whoever it is, I'm not even necessarily talking about my friend, that this person, whoever it is, they've convinced themselves that they're right. Just like the smoker, just like the alcoholic. They've convinced themselves that there's nothing wrong.
but
They've convinced themselves by their own warped reality and their own stories. Just like I convinced myself for years that nothing was wrong, and when I was in denial and depressed about living with diabetes, and, like, I convinced myself that that was the reality. I convinced myself of that, and the only way that I could break free of that was to be open that I was wrong, to be open to a different perspective and a different opinion. Just like that through 2 years ago, I thought GLP-1s was the stupidest thing ever. And now I'm because I've learned more about it, I'm more open that it's not the stupidest thing ever. I still don't think it's the number one thing that you should do or the first place that you should go, but I'm more open to a different perspective on it. That's how life works. Our experiences shape our reality. And until you are open to other experiences and other things, your reality is going to stay in this little bubble and you can't grow. You're not going to grow until you're open to other perspectives and other views and other opportunities. That's why I hate
Yeah.
politics. That's why I can't
Well,
stand
in
politics.
that, but in that sense of what you just said, though, I think that is the biggest problem with health is that it catches up. It's people don't take care of their health until it's too late because you can get by smoking cigarettes and drinking for a very long time, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
But then
100%.
I do also hear of like alcoholics in their 30s that killed themselves. Like it took 2 years. Like I've heard you can take like 2 years of really serious alcoholism before your body shuts down. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like
Yeah. Or the
I,
or the person that smoked or you had the flip side, the person that smoked since they were 18 and they're 60 and they've never had an issue.
but they knew somebody that, but they knew, yeah. And they also knew
You know what I
somebody
mean?
that,
Like,
but they
they've
also
never had
had
an
like
issue. They smoke every single day.
a lot of smokers have like an uncle that, you know, smoked until the day he died, or, you know,
Yeah. I
everybody
mean,
has
but
like an
still
example,
but
you know.
still, everyone has their own perspective and their own ideas and their own world views on what is true and what is not true. And we are not the we can't continue as a society to be so hyper focused on changing someone's worldview. We can give our opinion and our thoughts 100%, just like I always give you my opinion and my thought
Yeah.
of the things that we clash on and the ideas and beliefs that we clash on. You're going to give you me your perspective. I'm going to give you my perspective. But that's all it is. It's a perspective. And it's up to us. Do we want to change our view or not? Because we have the choice to do that or not do it.
So
That's why
is telling someone to exercise clashing with their worldviews?
no, I mean, it's not about no, not necessarily. It's not. It's just a perspective. That's all it is. It's a perspective. It's like this is what I believe that you should do, and most people know that they should freaking exercise because they're not just hearing it from us. They're hearing it from their doctor. They're hearing it from their friend that might be really healthy or might exercise all the time and feels amazing. They know they should do it. Just like everyone knows, everyone pretty much knows that they shouldn't be eating and drinking excess amount of sugar.
Those are the other ones though. Those are instant gratifying. Like you get a high
They're
from
instant
you get
yeah, it's instant
high from
gratification, isn't it?
alcohol. You get high from pot. You get high from sugar. Like
You get an instant gratification, I get it, whatever.
that's where the problem is. Not everybody like people will go to the gym like one time and like fucking hate it, right? Like, can you imagine if everybody went to the gym and they got like that endorphin high every time? How different it
Well,
would be.
we couldn't have everyone go to the gym, we'd have to have more gyms.
I mean,
There's not enough gyms to foster everybody.
I
There's
know
not
what
enough Planet Fitnesses, there's not enough Lifetimes, there's not enough, like,
yes,
peaking performances, there's not enough gyms to foster everybody.
well, you're making a joke that would obviously never
I
come to fruition. So,
I know,
all right,
yeah, yes. Alright,
all right.
I gotta get out of here too, so
Yeah,
this has been amazing,
this was
man.
supposed to be
Everybody,
short. This was supposed to be
it
short.
was supposed to be short, and it's been an hour and a half. We'll probably get this down
Enjoy
to,
it.
like, an hour and 15, hour and 10, I don't
Unfortunately,
know, we'll probably
it
edit it.
becomes like I said, it becomes enjoyable when it's I don't know, maybe it's like misery. I'll never know the answer, but maybe it is like misery loves company, and maybe that's why we have a good relationship, or maybe it's because we see it from a bird's eye view because we've risen above it, and I don't know, I don't care what it is, but it's healthy for
Yeah, these are all
us.
great conversations. Again, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about giving perspective.
Perspective,
It's about
exactly.
giving a different perspective, a different
Yeah.
a different worldview than what you see.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think that right there and that view and that thought process is what I believe why I believe I'm such a good coach. Not just in the fitness industry or just not about just nutrition, but about everything, about mental health, about living with diabetes, about how to manage diabetes. That's why I believe I'm such a good coach because I don't just have one specific view. I'm not just honed in on one specific view. I can see everyone's view, and then I can challenge that view in a professional manner that gets someone to turn on the light bulb and be like, "Oh, I didn't even thought about that. That's amazing." Or someone that's stubborn that wants to like they have a specific view and you can't take them out of that. Okay, well, do you see why this specific view is making you take this specific action? And do you see why that specific thought process or that specific action could be detrimental to your blood sugars or to your health or whatever it is? Well, no. Okay. Well, then I don't know what I can say to you then. Or, oh, yes. Great. Now you have more information to make a decision. That's what a guide is. And that's what I do. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing it. I don't know why I just brought that up, but
It's another reason why we
yeah.
get along. You think you're a good coach, and I know that I'm a perfect person.
There you go. There you go. All right, we gotta get out of here.
Have
I've
fun
got
next
like
week.
10 minutes to get ready for this
Diabetes
diabetes
hard.
dinner, so
Diabetes hard next week, bro.
let's go. Yeah. We'll be, these episodes will still drop next week, guys. This episode will actually probably just drop next Friday, so we might even who knows? I don't even know that it's gonna drop.
It'll drop
But
when you hear it.
it'll drop when it drops. It drops when it drops. Who knows?
When you're
Who
listening,
knows?
it will
When you're
have dropped.
listening, it's dropped. You're listening to this or watching it on YouTube, it's dropped. But thank you everybody for listening. Really hope that these are valuable. I really hope this conversation was valuable to you. I really hope you got to the end of this episode. Make sure that you go watch on YouTube. Watch the YouTube, listen to the Spotify or Apple version of this. If you like audio, we've got the audio for you. If you like the visual, we got the visual for you. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.